Welcome to episode 13 of Echoes from the Arena. This episode is entitled The 50 Mission Cap, and there'll be more on that later. But, Dad, do you want to talk a little bit about tonight's topic? And then we're going to wax poetic about why we love it. Not necessarily the topic, but a song that's related to the topic that we'll talk about later.
Yes, I'll be glad to start it off here. And this is kind of I was thinking this morning in preparation for this, that this is kind of where popular music meets uh, culture.
Hmm.
And this is a good example of that.
I think you might have even said that or something along the lines of that.
Yeah, I know I wrote it this morning. Did we talk today
Did we talk
on the
today?
phone? I don't know.
I
Or I might
don't
have
even know.
texted to you.
You might have. I don't
But
know. That's
because I
funny.
know you were unrelated to tonight's topic, you were right on with the Bills signing or bringing back Jordan Poyer.
Yes,
We
s-
like that.
that's a slight deviation from our topic,
Yes,
but yes.
yes.
Uh, let's talk about Bill Barilko.
Okay, Bill Barilko was from Timmins, Ontario, which is north of Toronto.
Okay.
He grew up like most boys of the period. Now we're talking the 1930s.
Hmm.
Most boys of the period playing hockey mainly on ponds.
And if you're in Ontario, you're definitely playing hockey.
You're playing hockey and you're playing pond hockey. It was an industrial mining area of Ontario,
Hmm.
and as he grew, he started his uh, hockey career, his organized hockey career, playing goaltender. But as he grew and perfected his skating skills, he became a defenseman. He ended up. I'm going to kind of fast forward here, but he ended up playing with a team in the Pacific Coast League called the Hollywood Stars, which at the time was a pretty uh, popular league among Canadians.
Hmm.
It was like it would have been like what the ECHL is today compared to the American Hockey League.
Okay.
Toronto at the time had their minor league teams in Hollywood, California, and
That's so
they
strange.
also had a an American Hockey League team in Pittsburgh, the old Pittsburgh Hornets, which I happen to have seen play back in the day when we had the Buffalo Bisons.
You're dating yourself.
So this is pre-1970.
Yep.
And
Definitely dating yourself now.
yep. And then they also had a junior team called the Marlies, which is now an American Hockey League team.
Hmm.
But anyway, so Bill Barilko gets called up from Hollywood. Um, Originally thought he was going to Pittsburgh, and he did spend a very short time in Pittsburgh, but I don't believe he ever played a game for them because then he was immediately called up to the Leafs because the Leafs had some injury issues on the blue line, and he as a 19-year-old, 18 or 19-year-old, started playing for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Uh, he caught the fancy of Conn Smythe, who was the general manager, and who
Okay.
the award is named after. And his play had blossomed.
Spoke for itself.
So I believe the Leafs won multiple Stanley Cups.
Four in a row.
Was it four in a row? Okay. Uh,
47 through 51.
and
Or
we
no,
got
I'm
to
sorry,
remember now that this was a
48 through
league.
51.
This was a league that was not watered down. This was a league where only six teams existed. Um, the final,
Meaning the players, you had to be the highest of high caliber
yes, you had to be,
to make it in that
yes,
league, where
exactly, exactly.
let's say just for shits and giggles that they were carrying 20 players on a side,
Right.
the 120 players in the league.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's wild.
That's crazy.
Mhm.
So,
But back Bill.
let's highlight the 1951 season, which uh, wasn't the best of seasons for Barilko. He did not have a lot of production that year. He did have a lot of penalty minutes. As a matter of fact, most seasons that he played with the Leafs, he led the team in penalty minutes and was close to the top in the league in penalty minutes.
Hmm.
But he was just a hard-nosed player. In the book, which I use as research, a book called Without a Trace by Kevin Shea. Barilko was when you were on the ice, meaning his opposition,
You better know
you
where he
better
was.
know if Barilko was on the ice. You better have your head up and on a swivel. So come game seven of the 1951 Stanley Cup
Hmm.
final. It's an overtime, and the uh, the coach at the time was Joe Primo, and he had a very conservative approach towards defense. His defensemen more or less stayed home,
Hmm.
and there was a shot that went. Uh, there was a puck that went behind the boards,
Hmm.
popped out. There was somebody took a shot. It was kicked out by the goalie. The goalie was on the seat of his pants, and the puck kind of just laid there. And Barilko just charging from the point. And as he was being tripped and kind of flying through the air, he got his stick on the puck and it went up over the shoulder of the goalie. And it was, another Stanley Cup for the Leafs.
And I'll
And
post a picture of that on in our show notes on Facebook. But that would be the last goal that he ever scores,
exactly,
and
exactly.
not necessarily because he didn't score a lot of goals.
Yes. Um,
Unfortunately, he disappeared that summer,
he
to
just
quote a song.
he disappeared. It was 74 years yesterday. He disappeared in the northern reaches of Ontario. And just to explain, again, it's 1951. So this was up near Georgian Bay, that Georgian Bay area. And there weren't a lot of roads, so people
Gonna say
flew.
I could probably give a quick synopsis and say that it's there's a lot less development than there is now,
Hmm.
and there may not be a lot of development up there to begin with,
I would
because
say,
this is rugged territory.
yes. I would say even now there's not a lot up there.
Yeah,
There's some mining going on. There's a hydroelectric project up there. There's some lumbering.
it's probably a lot like Alaska.
It's a lot like Alaska, yes. Yes, it's very sparse. It's very thick with trees.
Hmm.
The best description I was thinking this morning, how do I describe this to everyone? And although the vegetation is obviously different, but if you think of the Amazon rainforest and the
They,
canopy of
hmm.
trees, and if something goes beneath the canopy, chances are you're not going to find it.
Hmm.
And the same is true with this area of Ontario. Very thick forests.
Thick, dense, rugged forests.
Yes. And during the summer, when he disappeared, obviously, and they did put out a massive search, courtesy of the Royal Canadian Air Force, the canopy was so thick that the plane, no, the plane did go in, obviously, at an angle.
Hmm.
But and the searchers were looking for some type of a debris trail, which they weren't able to find. So that forest just sucked this plane up.
So
And
to go back a little bit. So what
hmm
happens this summer of
hmm
1951 is
hmm
Bill Barilko and his buddy, Do you remember the guy's name?
The
Hank,
the
the
pilot?
pilot. Yeah, so it
Yes,
was his friend,
Henry Hudson.
Henry
He was a
Hudson.
dentist. He was a
Okay.
dentist.
Uh, I thought his name was Hank for some reason. Although I guess if you're a Henry, you can be a
It could have been
Hank.
a nickname of his, yeah.
Yeah. Henry Hudson, fly up to Northern Ontario, very Northern Ontario, and go fishing and possibly hunting. That's not the important part. Unfortunately, the important part is on the flight back, the plane crashes and he is not found from that search party. They don't find the plane, they don't find bodies, they don't find anything for over a decade.
Hmm. Yep.
And in 1962, I believe it is a helicopter pilot,
Hmm. Yes.
right?
Yes, you're
That
right.
finds, that stumbles upon the debris trail. Not finds, he wasn't looking for it, I don't think. But stumbles upon, what is it, the tail of the plane?
I believe it was the tail of the plane, or it was one of the pontoons. The chapter just is it's a small yellow. They saw something yellow
Mhm.
among the trees, and they were up there actually flying it was a helicopter service, like you said, and they were doing some work for a hydroelectric project that was going to be going in, and they were
Doing some
inspecting the
surveying
timber.
or
Yes,
something.
so it was totally, you know, accidental. They weren't
Mm.
looking for to plane. They were doing a job, but they did catch a glimpse of yellow, and and then actually he didn't really note it on the map. So they went back
Mm.
and was just shooting the bull and mentioned it to another pilot that they had seen something that looked like something that was yellow that could have been the piece of an airplane. And the other gentleman said, "Well, that's where it's rumored that Bill Barilko, his plane went down." So it took them quite a while they sent out, again, they sent planes out, helicopters, what have you,
Mm.
and it took them quite a while to find it again. Now, we
Wow.
had a general idea where it was,
Mm.
but they did eventually find it. And then they did put, boots on the ground, so to speak, to get in there. Again, a lot of the land was more like a bog, like a peat bog almost.
Yeah, so it probably sucked up.
So it was hard to get in there. And yeah, and they finally found the plane. They found two skeletons that were still in their seats.
Mm.
Um, Something interesting was to this day, they have not identified the remains that was in the passenger seat, nor the pilot unequivocally, that it's them. That's the uniqueness. They had a coroner's inquest
Mm.
and they matched the number on the plane with the owner of the plane, which was Henry Hudson. So they surmised that, okay, the pilot's Henry Hudson.
It's probably him.
The his passenger, the assumption it was Bill Barilko. He was buried as Bill Barilko,
Mm.
but to this day, this was before DNA, and I don't know why they couldn't use a dental
That's what I was thinking.
records because he was the
Unless,
patient of the guy in the other seat.
unless,
So
unless there was
I don't know.
no.
And certainly hockey players do see dentists often.
That's true,
So
especially
I don't
back
know,
then.
but yeah, the quirky thing was he was never officially identified as Bill Barilko. So we were working on an assumption, which
Hmm.
we pretty much assume that the case was solved in 1962, like you said.
And that year is important because that is also the year that the Leafs won the cup again.
Exactly.
They didn't,
Exactly.
the entire time in which they did not find his body, allegedly now, I'm understanding. Um, he they went cupless and they found
Hmm.
his body and they won the cup again.
Exactly.
Weren't you telling me something about someone else disappearing by a similar name?
Yes, in the 1930s, someone in that same area went missing, and lo and behold, his name was Bill Barilko. No relation, and they never found the body.
Okay,
So that's a
that's
weird coincidence.
that's really fucking weird
Something more as weird, Matt.
that
The
you haven't told me.
I haven't told you
Oh
this.
my
This
God, my
came up
heart's
in the
gonna
book.
explode.
A The explorer Henry Hudson was a victim of a mutiny. He was put aboard a rowboat with his family and set adrift in up there.
Uh-huh.
Again, perished, never to be seen again, near where Dr. Henry Hudson crashed
Jesus.
his plane.
No shit.
So there you go. Really weird.
That's too weird.
It is weird.
That's pretty far north, now that I'm thinking about
That's
it.
way up there. That's way, way up there. And it is very sparse. My brother, your uncle, was
Mm.
up there when he was much younger, and I believe that by then they drove up because there were, you know, there were roads.
Some
This would have
roads.
been in the 80s, but it's way up there. And Chuck was saying there's not much around. There's some small villages, towns that cater to, you know, the loggers, the miners,
Mm.
and the sportsmen, and that's
Mm.
it. There's not much else out there. I don't even know if a Tim Hortons would be there.
Oh, Dad, it's
Tim Hortons
Canada.
is
Come on.
everywhere. Are
There's got to
you
be
ready for the Tim Horton connection, or should we do that later on?
well, yeah, let's do it now.
Okay, well, Tim Hortons from generally that area,
Hmm.
and there were defensemen that took Barilko's place on the roster. Although Horton was already in the organization, he was playing with the Pittsburgh Hornets. But eventually, the player that permanently, well, not permanently, but took that position for quite a while
For the Leafs
was Tim Horton.
was Tim Horton,
And as we all know, um, Tim
where
Horton
we're
also
from.
died tragically
Yes.
on the Queen E.
Yeah. And a crash in a Di
Pan-
Tommaso Pantera
yeah, Pantera, yeah, yeah.
on
Coming
the
back from
Queen
the
Elizabeth
Leafs
Way.
game.
Hmm.
He was allegedly in Toronto doing business and stayed after, did not come home with the team. So there you go. So a lot of weird coincidences with this whole thing.
So you may be asking yourself, why Bill Barocco? Why do you know anything about this person who last did anything of note in the year 1951? And that's because there's a song by the name of 50 Mission Cap, which is the name of this episode, that tells the quick, brief history of Bill Barocco's um, tragic death and the finding of his body as part of the lyrics. The song is by the Tragically Hip, and once again, the name is 50 Mission Cap. At the I did not want to risk being copyrighted, so we're not going to play the song, but I did post the other day on our Facebook page the YouTube video of the song. But the lyrics themselves, um, Dad, why don't you just talk a little bit about our love for the Tragically Hip and maybe this our interest in this song?
Yeah, I just think Gord Downey,
We're
who
from an area of New York that is
right,
very close to Canada.
right, we're a border
Uh,
city,
we're a
basically.
border city. Where I work, you can get into Canada in less than 10 minutes.
And when I went to school up at Niagara University, my dorm faced Canada. So when I got up in the morning and opened up the shades, there was Canada right
Yep.
across the gorge. I looked at the Sir Adam Beck Power Project, which is the sister project to the Robert Moses, which is on the American side. So yeah, we're very,
Yeah.
very close to Canada. Probably a quarter of the university had Canadian students, so we had a lot, or I had a lot of interaction with Canadians, fantastic people. We used to go to Canada a lot just to, just on weekends. We used to go for hockey.
Mhm.
So, but I think so. I think there's a connection. I think the people of Western New York and the people of Southern Ontario are very similar.
We get a lot
Um,
of Canadians coming down
yes,
for Bills games. A lot of
exactly.
Bills fans in Southern Ontario.
But
But
I,
the our you know our connection to Canada and our proximity to Canada leads us to also get Canadian radio stations like what is it? Q107?
well, that I don't want to shoot down the 97 Rock in Buffalo
I
but
will.
the uh the best classic rock station, and I used to listen to it faithfully, is 107 in Toronto. Yes.
Yeah.
That was the
1071
that was
and
great, great,
I
great music.
bel I believe the rule in Canada was that they had to play 50% Canadian rock music.
Yeah, there's a rule. Yeah, yeah.
So we heard a lot of the hip. Um,
Did you
Later
ever hear of it?
on, a lot of Our Lady Peace.
Did you like Big Sugar?
Yeah.
Remember them?
Hmm.
They
I
played a
didn't know
lot
they're
of Big
Canadian.
Sugar on
They're
107.
Canadian.
Yeah, I think they're Canadian. Yeah, they're a Canadian band.
But so we heard a
Um,
lot of Tragically Hip, and the this song uh, would come on often, even when it was like not no longer new,
right.
because it was just a song that people in this area gravitated towards and liked, and it was called 50 Mission Cap. And I strongly urge everyone to go listen to the song. Um,
Now you've had the benefit of hearing it in concert. I've never heard it
I've
in
heard it in
concert.
concert.
I've obviously it's on my playlist. I listen to it a lot, but
Mhm.
I've never heard it live. So talk a little bit about how the audience
I mean,
accepted that song when they started the. You could tell it's coming with the
you
riff.
know it's coming because of the riff. But I was just pulling up the lyrics to the song, and I think what I appreciate about this song is the story that it tells, the way that it tells it, and it finds this is more of a thought on the Tragically Hip, this third thought. It finds a an intersection between folk and rock that makes me enjoy folk
Mm-hmm.
music. Um, but it's still very rock. It's very much a rock song. Um, just tipping its cap to folk music, I think. But so the lyrics, let me read the lyrics.
Okay.
So Bill Barilko disappeared that summer, and he was on a fishing trip. The last goal he ever scored won the Leafs the cup. They didn't win another till 1962, the year he was discovered. I stole this from a hockey card I keep tucked up under. And then it goes into the chorus. My 50 mission cap. I worked it in. I worked it in to look like that. It's my 50 mission cap. It's his 50 mission cap. And I worked it in. I worked it in. And I worked it in to look like that. And then it just basically goes through that again. But it's got a great riff. It's a nicely driven rock song. Um, but there's so much interesting story told in just this simple little package of lyrics. Uh, the story is essentially of a pilot. Oh, I hear somebody in the other room. They're going to make themselves known. Um, it essentially is the story of there's somebody that knows who Bill Barilko is and what happened to him because he keeps a hockey card of Bill Barilko tucked up under his 50 mission cap. And a 50 mission cap, for those that don't know, is a basically if you were a pilot or you flew in a plane, maybe you were in a bomber, for instance, and you flew 50 missions, you were able to work your hat in. And Dad, I think you were able to describe it even
Yeah, there's a, and
further.
I forget the name of it, but there's a band that goes around the inside of the cap,
Hmm.
and these pilots. Now we're talking about the World War II pilots. Like you said.
Well, it wouldn't be World War II. That would be too early because Barilko would still be alive.
Well, that's true. That's true.
So
But
we're thinking like Korea or
could have been Korea, yeah. Um, but um, what was I going to say? But the
the
pilots would
strap.
take that strap out
Hmm.
to make it floppy, so they could put their headset over the
Right.
cap.
And it was
And
more
I know
comfortable
it
that way.
initially the brass was a little pissed off that that's you're not in uniform, but then they realized, hey, this guy's flying like 50 missions, so I think he can do what he wants, more or
So
less.
the
So
idea being that if you were walking around with a slouched cap that looked like it had
mhm,
seen some wear and tear,
yes,
it's because that person has flown 50 missions and you know,
exactly.
on the 50th mission they get to work the cap in.
But I don't know why they were so concerned about the cap initially, because the bomber
Wouldn't?
jackets were pretty well worked in too. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but so that's the lore, and
So he keeps
um,
this hockey card
right.
tucked up under his hat for good luck. And that little piece of information or little piece of lyric basically spawns this entire episode, but also like my interest in, okay, who is this Bill Baroco? And I had a remake of the card of him scoring that goal. It was in a pro set back when I was younger, I think.
Yeah,
Like
because
pro set.
you used to
Pro
buy
set.
you used to buy the big boxes of all the cards.
Yeah.
And we used to go through them. I remember now.
And one of them was Bill Baroco
Because
scoring the game-winning goal in the 1951 Stanley Cup.
I don't know how you, but as the first time I heard the song, well, even I actually the first but number of times I listened to the song, I was so intrigued by the riff and the
That
music. I
didn't even listen to the
didn't
lyrics,
really listen to the words. And then,
which is weird because it's not hard to make out what he's
no,
saying.
it isn't. He's one of the singers that when he sings, you understand what he's saying. And I'm surprised I never heard about it,
Hmm.
because now again, Matt, I'm dating myself. I know, but when I was a kid,
Hmm.
prior to 1970, I was a Leaf fan because
We had no team.
I would, we were lucky enough, like we were talking earlier, to live near Canada, and we
Hmm.
had the antenna on the house, on the roof, so we could pull in Channel 9 and Channel 11, Channel 9 out of Toronto, Channel 11 out of Hamilton. But Channel 9, CBC, had
Hockey
Hockey
Night
Night
in
in Canada
Canada.
every Wednesday and
Ba, ba, da, ba, da,
Saturday
ba,
night. And
ba,
there
da,
you go.
ba,
And that's
da,
the theme.
ba, da, 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 da.
And
I mean, I
if
hope I don't get copyrighted for doing it with my mouth. Ba, ba,
it,
ba, ba, da, ba, da, 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 da,
there
da.
you go. That's good,
Da,
man.
da, 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 da. That's pretty
And if
close.
that's good. And if the Leafs were in town,
Yeah.
you would get the Leaf game. If the Leafs were on the road, you would get Montreal.
Montreal.
Unless the Leafs were playing Montreal, then you would get, obviously you're seeing the Leafs. But yeah, I remember um, um, initially, what was the name of the broadcaster? I can't think of him now. I'm drawing a blank. It became Bob Cole,
Yeah.
but he wasn't the pioneer hockey broadcaster. But
He
anyway, I
became Bob
remember,
Cole, like baby Bob Cole, or a different guy?
no, different guy, different
Okay.
guy.
I do
He's
want to state, just for any wieners that think that you were a Leafs fan over a Sabres fan, the Sabres didn't exist yet
Okay, Sabres didn't exist, so
till
I
1970.
remember watching Dave Keon and Tim Horton as a Leaf.
Hmm.
Punch Imlach was the coach. Brian Ellis and Paul Henderson, all those guys that played with the Leafs. I remember Bob Goldham, who was a former defenseman of theirs, was he was the analyst for some of the broadcasts. Howie Meeker, who played with Bill Barilko, was
Mm.
also an analyst. So it was kind of,
Full
it's kind of neat.
circle.
You're getting a very, it was a very historic thing, and they played in a great old barn, which Matt was in.
I was
You saw
Red
them play
Wings.
the Wings there.
Hmm.
Before they moved to the Air Canada Center. But yeah, it was a great it was a great time to be a hockey fan. I think it was old time hockey. So, so there
Yeah,
you go.
so
So
that's the 50 mission cap. Um, Please find the song and listen to it.
oh,
And if you like that song, you're gonna like a lot of other Tragically Hip
I know
stuff.
the point I was trying to make. I kind of lost my track on what point I was trying to make. I didn't really pay attention to the lyrics initially.
Yes.
And then one day I'm sitting there and I'm just, listening to the music, and I'm all of a sudden I started listening to the lyrics, and I'm thinking, I've never heard of this guy. Why did I hear this guy? And even Gord Sinclair, who was, I believe he's the bassist for the Hip,
I don't know all the
and I
members of
think
the
Gord
Hip.
Downey also. None of these guys grew up in Kingston, Ontario.
They didn't
None of
know.
them heard of Bill Barilko. So I guess it was just the passage of time that people weren't talking about it anymore.
Huh.
But there is a
Which
banner
is because it had been
in the
so
garden.
long since it had happened that it wasn't really on people's
Well, probably was
minds.
just on people's minds. Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of feel like people like us would remember it though, because we knew who Bob Kelsey was.
Yeah, exactly. I would have, I certainly would have remembered it if I heard about it. It just wasn't something that was mentioned.
Yeah.
I'm glad I came across it. I'm glad I read the book. I would, if you're into old time hockey
And reading.
and reading, it's called Barilko Without a Trace by Kevin Shea, who I believe was a newspaper, or is, and he might still be a newspaper writer in the Toronto area, in the Toronto market. But it was a very well-researched book. He talked to, there is a well, the book came out in 2010, so that there was a surviving sister
Hmm.
who helped with the book
Interesting.
and got to meet the Hip at the Garden. Or actually, I think did she meet him at the Garden, or she met him either at the Toronto or in Hamilton. Got to meet and talk a little bit about her brother.
Hmm.
And then I think I was telling you there's a there's a passage in the book that when the Hip played the Gardens, Maple Leaf
Hmm.
Gardens,
Right.
uh, when they started the riff with 50 Mission Cap.
Oh yeah.
The spotlight went from the stage to the rafters, where there's
Hmm.
I believe, a picture of Barilko scoring the goal, and the place went totally
Totally
bonkers.
bananas.
Oh,
When I saw them, that riff made the place go bananas too, and they didn't even have to have a spotlight on anything other
yeah.
than the band. But that was t turned out to be a very bittersweet moment because the Hip would not play Buffalo again
No,
because
there's some
unfortunately
tragedy
Gord
there too.
Downey, the lead singer, passed away from a brain tumor, malignant brain tumor, I believe.
And Gord Downey's godfather is Harry Sinden,
Who's that?
the old coach of the Bruins. He coached the Bruins when they won the cup in, was it 68?
Mm.
The famous Bobby Orr shot.
Oh, I,
And then he became, I believe, just a GM. So Gord Downey has a hockey, background.
I Okay, I was gonna make a real smart ass comment, but the name Harry Sinden does sound familiar to me now. I was gonna say while I have the Olympics memorized back to like 19 whatever,
Right.
um, I don't have all the former coaches of the Boston Bruins memorized front to back. Um, so I think that wrap,
I couldn't tell you all of them. I could tell you
yeah,
Sinden and Cherry.
yeah, Donald. Uh, I think that wraps up our section here on the 50 mission cap, but we do have, we're going to be on the road shortly. And we're going to the US Open
Yes.
this weekend. So this is being taped on a Wednesday night, August 27th, and I'm going to try my hardest to get this up this evening. If not this evening, definitely tomorrow morning. But then we, on Friday, will be heading to New York and see the Open again, which we have done outside of the one COVID year. How many years in a row now?
I think we've been doing it since 20, I want to say 2014, I think.
Yeah, it's
So
got to be.
we're past 10
We're
years already.
past 10 years now. Man, it didn't seem like that, but
No,
I'm
it did. And
sure that's definitely right.
it was a great weekend.
Pretty sure my credit card statement would also tell you that I
I
was
would
in New York on
recommend
those weekends.
if you're a tennis fan, go the middle weekend, the
Mm.
Labor Day
Best bang
weekend,
for your
because
buck.
you're gonna see a lot. Yeah, you're gonna see a lot of great tennis.
Mm.
I was monitoring yesterday because the players that played yesterday, we're gonna see. Well, we might
Yeah,
see them. They still have to
we
play
might see them. They got to play
tomorrow,
tomorrow.
right? So,
So
unfortunately,
I
the
saw
player
Fritz play today.
we got this. Did he play today? So we won't see
Yeah,
him,
we're probably not gonna see him.
and we won't see for the first time since she's been playing the Open. We won't see Pagula because she played today.
Mm.
So she'll play Sunday,
Might
but we will see
might see Coco.
Sinner, and we may see Coco.
We'll see
Yes.
one of
So
them, one of the two,
yes,
if they're still in the
yes,
tournament.
right. But yeah, so we're gonna be at the Open, and we'll bring you some interesting information from the Open.
Yeah,
Looking forward to it, like we always do. And
and we've added like a section of the trip now. There's a
yes,
new section to the trip
yes, yes.
that we started doing 3 years ago, I think. Right?
We should do a short. We should do a short. We should do a real. We should do a short
From there,
from there.
or at least have some video of
I
it.
mean,
Yeah.
we'll have video. We probably won't be able to hear us, but
Yeah. So
because it is an
what
Arsenal bar.
we do, Dad puts his Man United kit down for the day, and we go to wherever the local, biggest local Arsenal supporters pub or restaurant establishment is. For 2 seasons, it was Jack Doyle's down in Manhattan, was the closest one that and was kind of, at least the first year, um, was really raucous.
It was. It was.
And then last year, I decided to take us way off the beaten path and go to O'Hanlon's, which is down in Lower Manhattan, uh,
I
in
believe
a
isn't it Hell's Kitchen?
if it's not,
I
it's
think it's,
awfully close, I
I think
think.
it's Hell's Kitchen that we're in. I think we were in. I,
Uh,
I didn't know the name of the place, so
yeah,
it's
O'Hanlon's.
O'Hanlon's. Okay.
Yeah. So, and that was like, don't jump too high if they score because your head might go through the ceiling. But for a 7:30 game, it was pretty
It
loud in
was
there.
early. Yes, it was early.
And when we go this year, the game will be on Sunday, so we won't have to worry about the Open. So this will be the next day. This will be the day after the Open. And
A later
it should
start.
be interesting. Yes, it's a 10:30, 11:30 start. I don't remember. I'll have to check. But Arsenal at Liverpool.
So let me ask you this.
Hmm.
since you've experienced them both. Okay, so we experienced O'Hanlon's in Hell's Kitchen. Now,
Hmm.
talk to us a little bit about the Arsenal bar that you were in North London.
It's like
Is there any
it's
comparison?
no, not really.
It's
I mean, a slight. Like the I'm curious what it's going to look like for this game
a big
because
game.
this is a big game and it's at a good time for people to be up. Like we watched them play Brighton Hove Albion. We watched Arsenal play at Brighton Hove Albion at 7:30 a.m. on a Saturday.
Right, right.
So, but playing at Liverpool mid-morning is way different. I'll be interested to see what it's like, but honestly, the first year we went, I think was probably the most raucous
That was
and
a Man U. That
loud.
was a Man U game, right?
That was the Man U game, and it was um, at Jack Doyle's. And at that time, I think that was like the official place. And it moves around, so I'm always kind of checking the Arsenal supporters website. But uh, it doesn't exactly match the tenor and intensity of the Tollington Arms, which is uh, a 7 iron away from
So now
Emirates Stadium.
they were home, right?
No,
Well, they were on the road. Okay, because
they were,
I was going to ask you if
well, they weren't very far.
you could hear.
They weren't very far away.
Oh,
They were
where
in
were they
Tottenham.
against Chelsea?
No, it was Tottenham. This
Oh,
was the North
Tottenham.
London
Okay,
Derby.
okay.
So it was my fiance and I. We were at we went to the Tollington Arms to watch Arsenal play at Tottenham. This would be about a month from now last year, and not quite, a couple weeks from now last year. And it was a sight to behold. I've never seen so many people crammed into one place. As soon as the games are on, the patio's empty,
Mm,
completely empty.
wow.
I could have done an interpretive dance out there. I had that much room.
Mhm.
Everyone is in, and the one goal they scored, and I like the way that Jennifer tells it. She said she was looking down and she looked up, and all of a sudden she just saw drinks in the air. And when the game ended, and it ended 1-0 to the Arsenal, she, I remember going to the bathroom and like I could hear my feet on the floor.
Mm.
And I was overserved a little bit, so I stumbled over and got some fish and chips, and it was one of the most delicious experiences I've ever had.
You got fish and chips there or at another establishment?
They didn't, they did
Oh.
actually, they did have food there and it looked delicious, but no, there was a place that was like a super highly rated
Mm.
fish and chips place. It was like 2 miles away, and I was like, yeah, I need to walk some of this game off.
Mm.
So
Fish and chips was very good in London. It's
it was
definitely
unbelievable.
much better than it is here.
Yeah.
And
And we do a decent job here,
yeah, there's some places that have good fish and
but
chips, but
it's not the same.
it's
It's
not
not as
London.
good.
Yes, it's not
Not
London.
as good.
So there
So
you go.
that's the second part of our, I would say, sports journey this weekend. Hoping to maybe get to Brooklyn Brewery too. Maybe later that day.
Got to
That'll be
do
fun.
Brooklyn Brewery again. I gotta have that apple cider. That's the best apple cider I've had.
Yeah, it's good. I wish they had it here. I haven't been able to find it. So we hope to have some US Open content. Certainly we'll have some thoughts on the United States Tennis Center and maybe even a quip or two about the Mets if they're playing again, because it seems every year we go. And for those
Yes.
that don't know, the United States Tennis Center is bumped up right up against the parking lot, and actually not much parking lot, like almost right up against
Yeah.
Citi Field where the Mets play. So when it's letting out for the day session at the United States Tennis Center and there's a Mets game that night, that is a pretty busy area right there.
A
Uh,
very busy
hard
area.
to maneuver around and certainly hard to get a freaking car.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got to walk all the way around
Yeah, we're not going to
City
be doing that.
Field
We're not doing that again.
to
We're
get
getting
a
the
cut.
shuttle again. We will flag one down for you.
Because yeah, it's yeah, there might be, and actually the Mets are actually having a fairly good season.
I'm sure
So
Steve will be thrilled.
I
My
believe they're in
buddy
first
Steve will be thrilled.
place. Is he a Mets fan?
Unfortunately, yeah. Yeah, he's long recovering. Yeah. Do we have any ideas for our next full show? Anything you wanted to?
Nothing. I'm trying to think
I mean,
about
but
something.
let me
It's
rephrase that. We have a ton of ideas for shows. It's
yeah,
just
we got
what should come next is the idea.
yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure. Well, there's something we'll
We'll
speak
have to
about
talk
off
about
the
it. We
air,
can
but
speak about it offline.
we'll obviously be talking about our adventures in New York.
Yeah,
But yeah, I do have some ideas, but I'm
we
not
got
sure
quite a
where we
few
want to
ideas
go because we're looking at, you know, we try to make shows somewhat pertinent to what's going on in the sports world. I know,
with the
so
anniversary of Barilko's death just being
yeah, that
yesterday.
was the anniversary and the tennis going on and the NFL season starting
Yeah, we're gonna have a Bills game
soon.
to reflect on.
So we're probably going to talk. I would say we're probably going to talk football next show because we're right on the cusp of the season. And I believe the first game is on a Thursday night again. So,
It's tomorrow night.
no, a week from Thursday, a week from tomorrow night.
Oh, it's a week from tomorrow night.
Because
Oh,
isn't that the Cowboys and the Eagles?
you're right. You're right. My mistake. I forgot they have this week now where they
Yeah,
don't play.
we got the long break, so to speak.
Yeah. So
Um, Before we leave, any surprises on the Bills cuts?
not really. I didn't. Nothing jumped out at me as but like anyone they cut, I could kind of tell you that guy's probably going to the practice squad, or
Yeah,
they're going to
yeah.
try to get him on the practice squad. And I think Charlo made the practice squad, but the two guys that I thought that they would try to get on the practice squad, they got on the practice squad, and it's Shane. I can't say his last name. The quarterback and
Oh,
Frank.
did he clear waivers? So he's back.
I
Okay,
think he did, and I think Franco Jr. cleared waivers too.
okay, okay.
So I think.
He was
So
pretty good in
no,
that.
I thought it was Shavers was rewarded for a really good preseason.
Yeah, I had him making the team. I think he did enough.
I mean, if
And
here's the thing is if Coleman goes down, we don't have a big wideout then.
right, right.
I mean, yeah, we have two effective tight ends, but we don't have a big wideout for, I mean, God forbid we call fade patterns. Geez, you know how much I hate those. But
Yes, fade patterns are not
they need to fade in oblivion
the
into
most
oblivion.
productive patterns.
No.
Nope, nope, nope.
There's
I
a
think we
flow
need.
chart. There's a flow chart that Jake and I came up
I
with,
I
and
think we need to talk a little bit about some of the old-fashioned beliefs regarding some of the plays that are called. I would guess. I don't know if like John or not John. That's his uncle. Sean McVay or Matt LaFleur or Kyle Shanahan. Do they have a jumbo package, which that doesn't seem to work when you're short yardage
I'm sure
and you're
they
heel to heel. Why don't you
I'm
spread the
sure
defense?
they all have one. I just don't see them use it very often, you know,
Yeah.
because yeah, it's about spacing. Why are
Yeah,
we
if
putting
you're
a bunch of guys foot to foot, essentially?
right.
And we're just creating a giant wall that a person's supposed to squeeze through as opposed to stretching everyone out and trying to find the mismatch
Yeah, if you're
or
going for inches, maybe okay,
fine.
but
Okay.
If you're like a yard, 2 yards at the goal line,
Mm.
I just think it would be more beneficial to spread the defense.
You don't need to think that. That's
Well,
true. It's just true.
I would say if you look at analytics, it's probably more effective.
Yeah. So how did we get on that?
I don't know. I think we were talking about what we were talking about. I don't know what we were talking about.
I don't know. We were talking about the fade
Oh, the
penalty.
fade. The
Yes, I
fade.
was gonna say that Jake and I had before I was so rudely interrupted, that Jake and I had a flow chart that he may or may not even state exists now. Was basically the flow chart is: do you have Calvin Johnson? Yes. Okay, you can throw a fade. No, then don't throw a fade. And that's the only part of it. Basically, Calvin Johnson's the only guy you should have been throwing a fade to, and he's not in the league anymore. So stop
Right,
throwing fades.
right.
To me, it just seems like a unnecessary, A, not very effective success rate, and B, an unnecessary possibility of interception if you underthrow it.
Yeah, yeah.
But what do I know?
Not my favorite play, but
I'm just a
uh,
keyboard warrior. Um, so I think if that is all that we have, we will go ahead and finish our episode here. Um, and we hope to see folks next episode, probably, I would say at least a week, if not a week and a half out. But we will have some stuff and some fresh reactions from the US Open. And I hope I have some good Arsenal stuff to talk about.
sounds good.
Good night.
Good night.